Good morning, everyone. We'd like to call the Middlebury Redevelopment Commission meeting for July 23rd, 2026, open at this time. Roll call, everyone is present. You should have received the minutes for the June 25th and the July 2nd meetings.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for June 25th and July 2nd as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. At this time, we'd like to open for public comments. At this time, we'll close the public comments. Item number 5, old business, open bids for demolition of 205 East Warren Street. We do have two. The first one is by Dana Bontrager Excavating. It appears to be in the amount of $15,665 even. You only have two bids this morning. This next one is Martin Excavating. It appears this quote is for $60,000 even.
I'll make a motion that we take the bids for the demolition of 205 Warren Street under advisement.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any further comments?
Harry, do we know any more about somebody potentially moving it?
So there was one person that was thinking about moving it, and the more that they dig into it, the more it's gonna cost, and possibly not even possible, because the house is 40 foot wide, and they're saying that they need 50-foot clearance on roadways, and so I'm not sure.
Okay.
They haven't said no yet, but I think they're coming to that.
Conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the main reason taking under advisement. Give a little more time. We can always do it pretty easy.
Yep.
This will be a fall-winter project, late fall-winter project.
Yeah, when they were submitting their bids, it sounded like November, December is the time where they'll be doing this.
Okay.
And then council approved and gave permission, as long as it's going to be go through the demolition process, for police and fire to do training.
Yeah.
So we'll let people know when those training dates are.
Yeah.
Or at least the fire department. That's a little bit more interesting.
And it sounded like if they do some training, it would be possibly on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So disruption of traffic would not be too terribly an issue.
Right. Yep.
Or more, depending on the Saturday.
Yeah. We have a motion and a second. Again, any further comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion passes. New business, agreement amendment number 1 with Donahue and Associates for Orpha Drive sanitary sewer project.
So agreement number 1 is for basically adding construction-related services and construction observation services, because that was not a part of the original contract. That was just for bidding or getting the contract documents ready. So the additional services would be $97,150, increasing their total contract to $199,050. So, and they're planning on just doing part-time inspection. I'm going to be out there every day as Orpha Drive is being built. Just, whether it's 5 minutes or 30 minutes, but answering questions and stuff, and then relaying that back to the engineer. So, yeah, we're requesting for consideration of approving their contract. I did include, it's going to be tight with everything that we have going on. So I did include the Elroy TIF because it would be coming out of Elroy TIF. And like I said, it's going to be running tight once we get all the disbursements and everything. Um, then it'll be a little bit easier at the end of the year, but from now until the end of December, it'll be a little bit.
How soon will this have to be paid, Mary?
They're planning on starting the week of August 10th. So, and usually, they'll work 30 days, invoice, and that's the same way with construction engineering services.
So we will possibly would have our second disbursement by that August? Because here it says anticipated disbursement June of 26.
We've already received it.
Okay, so we've
Yep.
already received it, okay.
And then, so the second disbursement's at the end of December.
Okay,
Um,
okay, thank you.
so, and construction is supposed to be complete sometime in November. That's what they're anticipating. So I think that will be fine. It's just going to be kind of tight.
Thank you, Mary.
Tighter than what I like. Let's put it that way.
I move that we approve agreement amendment number 1 with Donahue and Associates for the Orford Drive sanitary sewer project as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting this motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion passes. The next item, discussion to amend the public comments rule. As y'all probably aware, we tried to keep this as informal and as simple as possible, but apparently it's not what it needs to be. As it stands, rule number 4 says attendees submitting public comments must identify whether or not they are residents of the town of Middlebury. So that's basically all we were asking. So this is just for discussion at this point, and, if you decide we want to move forward, I do have a copy here of the Elkhart County Commissioners' Public Comment Policy and Procedures, so I'd like to read these through to you. Please feel free to stop me if you have any questions about any of this, and hopefully Jackson or Mary can give us further advisement on this. Number 1, any member of the public who wishes to speak during this privilege of the floor will need to complete and submit a registration card prior to the beginning of the meeting. Cards submitted after the meeting has started may not be accepted. Members of the public will be called to speak as identified on the registration card. If a member of the public decides not to speak, they may decline the opportunity when called. A speaker must begin by stating their name and the city and the state of their address. A speaker may state their street address if they believe it is relevant to the issue presented. If a speaker does not state their street address or does not place on the registration card their street address, the commissioners will deem the address of the individuals to be no merit on the issue. Again, we tried to keep this as simple as possible, but we just wanted to bring it forward to say, if people don't want to state whether they are a resident of the town of Middlebury or not, I guess we have to go to something like this, to have a registration card. So I guess I'd be open to discussion on this matter.
Well, for me, the point is state whether or not you're a member of the town. If you're a member of the town, we know that you're a, constituent, that the business that you're bringing up affects those that were elected by the town. We have seen across the country and even recently right here people traveling from out of state to come and speak at the Bristol town council meetings about these data centers. And they don't even live in the area. Actually, they don't live anywhere near. And so I'm okay with people speaking as long as they understand it doesn't carry any weight with the council. If you don't live in the town, it doesn't carry any weight. Feel free, but so I don't know about a card. I don't, the number of people that that may come and want to speak if something is relevant to the town. We want to hear it. Um, Session, as long as there's a reasonable time limit, some identification, then I think that's fine. And I like the point about if you don't tell us whether you're a resident of the town, then we hear it, but
No merit.
no wait. Yeah.
And again, just a reminder, I mean, the reason all municipalities do this is, number one, to create an accurate public record, determine speaking procedures, verifying public hearing requirements, understanding the speaker's interest in a matter being discussed, and as Mike had stated, identifying constituents, and number six, assessing community support or opposition to an issue. So again, in order for us to make informed decisions, we need to know who is speaking before us and the issue in which, they're either in support or opposition of. So, again, we tried to keep it as simple as possible, but I guess, trying to keep it informal is apparently not the way to do it in this manner.
So I guess I have two thoughts that come to mind. One is, I mean, I appreciate, I'm obviously aware of things that happen at public meetings and whatnot, but I don't know that we've encountered any issues here. So, I mean, to the extent that the town council has or other bodies, there's been no issues at these meetings. But the other part of it is, to me, there's a difference between public comments where, it's the idea of somebody's just, they can talk about whatever they want to, whether it's on the agenda or not. I mean, that's what a public comment period is versus, you mentioned the Bristol, the data center things, those type of matters, which are public hearings where you're actually, as a board, you're receiving evidence as to make a determination about something where all of a sudden those things do become a little bit more relevant. And so on one, I just, like I said, I think there's a difference between what we're talking about in terms of like what we have here for the most part. Occasionally we will have public hearings. I mean, it's pretty few and far between for a redevelopment commission, but it's mostly we decided at some point along the lines, even though we didn't have to, we said, oh, we'll allow the public to talk at the meetings. We have a public comment period. That public comment period is never tied directly to one particular issue. I don't know. I mean, I think, I think we get into these realms of understanding that I think there's value to addresses and knowing where people are at when you're weighing evidence in a public hearing, when you're deciding a zoning matter, or, if we were to create a new TIF area, we have to do a public hearing, that type of stuff. This is supposedly just for people to say whatever they want to say. And it may be something on the agenda or not, which is, I mean, why I was always somewhat, I think, an odd juxtaposition to have public comment at redevelopment. But I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to figure out, like, I get that there's problems happening, but we haven't had any issues here that I'm aware of.
We
so.
have had one.
At a redevelopment commission meeting?
Yes.
Okay, I must have missed that meeting, so, but, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just,
Do we have any guidance from legal?
Concerning what in
This
particular?
matter? Like, what are any recommendations?
I mean, I thought it was fine the way they are now, personally. But I mean, it's it's within your discretion, I guess, to an extent, of course. But I mean, sort of going with what Don said, the trying to match the requirement to the level of relevance. Since it is a general public comment, that's why we don't, in the rules, say where are you specifically? Because that doesn't necessarily have to make it, but it may be relevant to know whether they are a constituent, a
Okay.
town resident or not, to a general public body. And that's just additional information. And it can also be used, as Gary said, for the administration of public comments when they get, really heavy in input, if you're, for example, yeah. So that's why it's at that level. But if you want to change it one way or the other and have a particular feeling, I can assess what you guys want to do. But that was, I think, the rationale at the time.
Well, the statement in the county rules where what the caveat for me is if you don't want to identify as a constituent, excuse me, to the council or board or committee or whoever's meeting, fine, then don't identify. But know ahead of time that carries no weight unless we deem it
Yeah.
relevant somehow. But it doesn't require an answer.
Yeah, and that's more of almost a statement of sort of just know, we think that this is relevant information, and if you don't do it, we'll give your testimony the relevant weight or comment the relevant weight that we think it would,
Mhm.
be given as someone who we don't know where you are or where you are
Right,
from.
right. Right.
So, yeah.
So let me ask you this, would you guys consider or be in favor that we add what they put here? A speaker may state their street address if they believe it is relevant to the issue presented. If the speaker does not state their street address and does not place it on the registration card, the commissioners will deem the address of the individual to have no merit or issue. So I guess to give them number one, I think we need to know who's speaking before the redevelopment commission, and I guess give them the option. If they don't want to state it, then they need to understand, like you said, they need to understand that there is no merit or weight given to their comment.
Well, for me, I don't even care about street address. Maybe the county does for some reason. I just care about, are you a resident of the town? The town elects us. It's town business. If you don't want to say because people may move, someone may move in here to this town or to the near town area, have been very active in the area where they moved from, be the kind of citizen that likes to participate, move in, talk to us, and and we say, listen, we'd prefer to know live in the town or not. If you don't, then it carries the weight based on where you live. If you're a constituent that elects not this board, I'm talking more about the council, then that makes a difference. Here, it helps us to know, because as Don points out, if we're creating a new TIF or we're doing, whatever, it helps us to know. If you don't want to tell us, okay, then we say, okay, but sometimes there are direct questions asked. I would think direct questions asked by a citizen of the town, a constituent of the town, or a constituent of a body would carry more weight than someone who doesn't.
Didn't we pretty much follow what the council did for the public hearing, and where do they stand on this issue? Was to be consistent. Does the council want to adopt this?
I guess if we decide to change this, that I would say let's make it subject to, the town council's
So it's consistent.
Yeah.
decision, yeah.
I mean, if the council feels that this is important, we
It
follow
will.
the same administrative operations of a meeting that the town council does. If they don't, we don't.
Yeah. I mean, that to me has some logic to it.
Yeah, the one thing you read about those county rules, and they talk about speaker must begin by stating their name or their address, may state their street address if they believe it is relevant to the issue presented. A public comment, and you look at where it is in our agenda, they're not speaking to an issue. Like like today's meeting, for example, we didn't, after we opened up the bids, we didn't see if there was any public comments. After we did the proposal for the amendment and there was a motion, we didn't open up for public comments. There's not like specific issues we're opening it up for. It's just basically, and this is why I think it's odd for redevelopment commissions to have it at all, in terms of that difference between public, public speaking at the meeting versus at a public meeting versus having a public hearing where you're receiving evidence on something. This is equivalent of why like you have the right to do it at a council meeting or executive or whatever your town or city's legislative body is, because statute creates that right. These other commissions and boards generally don't. There is no right to speak during a public meeting unless there's a public hearing on a particular item. And so it's just, I feel like we're merging these two issues and it's going to confuse that, because the way it comes up here on public comments, like I don't know. I mean, like I said, I wasn't here at the meeting where apparently there was an issue. I just, to me, I think it's absolutely relevant evidence when you're dealing with a public hearing item, because it informs us on how much to weigh the testimony based on where somebody lives in relation to whatever the proposal is. But we're talking about just people making comments in general, not related to a specific issue. It's just, I mean, technically somebody can get up and,
Yeah.
well, I mean, if people see Mr. Smith goes to Washington, right? Like somebody can get up and just say whatever they want to, and you can put a time limit on
Well,
it.
isn't the public comment supposed to be agenda oriented? Isn't that what it?
Agenda and authority, I mean, somebody, may not want to get up and talk about something we have no authority over.
Sure, but it's, I thought it was, the idea of it was something that was on the agenda for that day.
Ideally,
Jackson, is there a requirement for a committee or group like ours to require public comments?
What do you mean require? I mean, only on,
State statute?
you don't have to do them at your public meetings, unless there's a specific item on the agenda that requires a public hearing.
Okay, so
we just did it because there was public interest to speak at our meeting. So we
At the
thought
RD
we would provide the privilege to provide a comment period. This was, what, a couple years ago? So we thought, okay, we'll be open to receive public comments.
Well, then I think, the record will show our discussion. If you, again, the RDC deals with business within the town limits for citizens or constituents within the town limits. If someone, to me, the common sense restriction is time, right? A time period. And then outside of that, if it's known that, listen, if you tell us that you live within the town limits, that has weight on a decision because we're making decisions within the town limits. If you don't want to tell us you live within the town limits, just understand it may have no weight or no bearing on our decision because we don't know, right? And again, it could be, someone brand new to the area. If you don't want to tell us, then we're not. I mean, the something in the comment may spur an idea or may spur a thought that we hadn't had, and it may be useful. But it is. I think more directly. Sometimes we get asked questions directly, and this kind of happens more often in town council. I can't remember it happened here, but maybe it has. Someone asks a question directly. If you haven't identified whether or not you live within the town, and there's no reasonable expectation of an answer. So I'm okay if you do or don't. Just understand the weight that it carries.
So again, our rule number 4 says attendees submitting public comments must identify whether or not they're a resident. So would you want to consider changing that to may or to some other wording? Attendees submitting public comments may identify whether or not they are a resident, and then put on the statement, if the speaker does not state whether or not they are a resident or not, the commission will deem, the individual as having no weight or merit,
Or
something.
may having no weight or merit.
Okay.
Right? Because again, merit to me means that the comment could have been, oh, I hadn't thought of that before. Not weight may be, well, I'm looking for an answer for this. Well, you don't identify yourself when you live in town, there's no expectation of an answer. Merit, there could be merit in the comment only because it sparks an idea or thought or
And
that.
I would just not put anything as to, I mean, that statement, frankly, on the rules, because, you can't make a determination for how Mike's gonna interpret the comment, and it's just, I don't know that you would want to make a blanket policy statement, and maybe that's not what that is. It's more like just FYI, if you don't do it,
And I think that,
you probably won't be given as much weight by many other people, just because.
I don't get hung up as much on
But
where the person
I-
lives as compared to if you have a really controversial issue. Unfortunately, Middlebury that hasn't happened very often, as Bristol's experiencing, is a time limitation.
Right.
I think that just to let it go on and on and on, that's where you get yourself in trouble.
agreed.
You have a certain amount of time, you time it. When the time's done, you sit down and let somebody else talk. And that's more important to controlling things in a sense than it is where you live.
Yeah, my
Because you may learn something from somebody that's,
well, that's
who
kind of my
knows?
point. My
Yeah.
thought has evolved over time. I mean, it is helpful. Even as an RDC member, it is helpful to know if anybody that comments lives in the town because we're talking about town business. It is helpful. But I think and maybe because we've got it on record now, that like if you don't tell us, don't expect that to carry a certain amount of weight. Feel free to say it. Just don't expect it to carry weight, particularly in regards to a specific answer or an answer to a specific question. If you're not in the town, we're dealing with town business. So there shouldn't be an expectation of why deserve this answer. Maybe, maybe not. But it's helpful if we know, that you live in the town, right? Because we are appointed by a council that's elected, right? And so, knowing that we're, dealing with town business, it's helpful. But if you don't want to do it, fine. Just your expectation level should be different. But I agree, Don, time limit, I totally agree. Totally agree.
I must have missed the meeting too, so I'm in Don's camp. I don't see this as an issue, but I'll go to the masses of whatever the council and the rest want to do, but I haven't seen it be an issue.
Well, I can tell you that I'm gonna take the same, tact or approach at council as well. Those or not, just understand, if you live here, carries a lot, if you don't. I mean, again, it may spark an idea, as Jackson said, one member of the body may interpret a comment different than another. So no desire to restrict it. Just understand the, base of the comment, right? That's it for me.
So I guess my question is, what do we do with that word must? Because
I
again,
think-
as if there's a violation of the public comments, then warnings need to be issued. So if we're not gonna require that they must identify whether or not they are resident or non-resident, then again, I need to know, because again, if they don't identify, then I need to issue a warning.
I would prefer may.
So change instead of must, may identify. Again, subject to town council making a similar, if town council is open to it.
I mean, why not wait till, why don't we put it on the town council agenda, see what town council does and follow suit? That makes sense?
Yep.
Consistency.
So leave everything as it is with the possibility, with approval from town council, of changing must to may, and leaving it as informal as possible and not requiring a registration card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate all of your input. Any other discussion on that? Again, thank you for your contributing to that. Our next redevelopment commission meeting will be Thursday, August 27th, 2026, here at Town Hall at 7 a.m. And with that, we are adjourned.
Stole my job.